Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to share the recipe of quite different cake, which is tender coconut pudding cake. This is a delicious cake with lots of natural tender coconut flavor in it. It has 3 layers of sponge cakes sandwiched with tender coconut pudding and covered with whipped cream frosting. So this cake has a lot of good elements in it. I have already prepared tender coconut pudding on the previous night. I have shared this recipe of the tender coconut pudding in my previous video. I'll leave the recipe link in the description below. I'm going to bake the sponge cake in a 7-inch pan. So I prepared this tender coconut pudding in a 6-inch cake tin. The size of the pudding should be 1 inch smaller than the cake. This tender coconut pudding is really delicious and gives the tropical flavor. I would highly recommend you to try this tender coconut pudding, and definitely this will become your favorite one. Let's prepare the sponge cake. For that, sift in 1 cup of maida or all-purpose flour, 3/4 teaspoon of baking powder, 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda, and a pinch of salt. Sift the flour so that everything combines well. So the dry mix is ready now. I have taken 3 eggs here and we have to beat it until it turns frothy. Once it turns frothy and increases in volume, add in 3/4 cup of sugar. I am adding granulated sugar and we have to add little by little at a time. The sponginess of the cake depends on how nicely we are beating the egg. The egg mix has beaten well and it has turned almost white color. Beat the egg mix until it doubles in volume and turns almost white color. Add in half teaspoon of vanilla essence. Now slowly add in 1/4 cup of sunflower oil. Here I have taken half cup of hot milk. The wet as well as the dry mix is ready. Now we need to combine them both. To the beaten eggs, gently fold in the flour mix. Add in the flour mix little by little and alternatively add in the hot milk mix. We have to fold in the flour mix gently so that the cake will be so spongy. So I'm adding the flour mix and the hot milk alternatively like this. The sponge cake batter is ready and it's time to bake the cake. I have baked the cake for 40 minutes at 170 degrees Celsius. Well, the baking time depends on your oven type. I have taken a 7-inch baking tin which has the detachable bottom in it. Line the baking tin with parchment paper and grease it with oil. Since this baking tin has detachable bottom, I have covered it with aluminum foil. Pour the cake batter into the baking tin. Give it a tap so that the air bubbles goes off. Bake the cake completely until a skewer inserted comes out clean. For me, it took 40 minutes at 170 degrees Celsius. Cake is baked perfectly and I'm testing it with the cake tester. Cool the cake slightly and unmold it. The parchment paper can be removed now. Now I'm cutting the cake into 3 equal parts. I'm using this simple gadget to cut the cake. The cake slices are ready now. The cake slices are ready and let's just assemble the cake. The tender coconut puddings are ready. It's mandatory to line the setting pan with the cling film so that it will be easy to unmold and place it on the cake. I have taken a cake board and applied little whipped cream. Place a layer of cake and soak it with simple syrup. For simple syrup, I have mixed in 3 tablespoons of sugar in half cup of hot water. Cool the simple syrup before soaking into the cake. Soak the cake with the simple syrup so that the cake will be moist. I have whipped 2 cups of whipping cream and took it in a piping bag. Pipe the whipping cream along the sides of the cake. We are going to place the tender coconut pudding in the middle. I have placed the tender coconut pudding on a plate and gently sliding it onto the cake. We have to do this step slowly and carefully. Well, the size of the tender coconut pudding is 6-inch and the cake is 7-inch. You can see the difference here. Now cover the cake completely with the whipped cream. Level the whipped cream with the spatula. Now place in the second layer of cake on top of the whipped cream. Soak the cake with the simple syrup. Now draw a border with the whipped cream. We are repeating the same step like we did before. Both the tender coconut puddings are placed perfectly on top of the cakes. I have covered the pudding with the whipped cream. I have placed the final layer of the cake. Soak the cake with the simple syrup. Now I am covering the entire cake with the whipping cream. It would be easy to cover the cake when we take the whipping cream in a piping bag. Now I am leveling the cake with the spatula. Here I am using a scraper to level the cake. Actually I am not pro in getting sharp edge whipped cream, but I am trying my level best. Use any method which suits you well to cover the cake with the whipped cream. I would say decorating a cake is like an art. The more you practice, you can master in decorating the cake. I'm still in learning phase to decorate the cakes. By using this cake comb, I'm giving little design to the cake. I have taken whipped cream in a star nozzle and giving this spiral design. Since this cake is tender coconut, I wish to keep this coconut as white color. I'm giving border at the bottom of the cake. Here I have used a small star nozzle to give this design. Using the same nozzle, I am filling the middle of the cake with small flowers. The cake is decorated now and we have to place it in the refrigerator for at least 1 hour. Isn't it beautiful, friends? And it does taste really good. I'll slice this cake and show how it looks inside. Should be gentle in handling the cake since it has 2 layers of tender coconut pudding. When you make this cake, you can prepare the tender coconut pudding on the previous day. Look at it, friends. You can see layers of cakes as well as tender coconut pudding. This cake has very unique flavor and if you like tender coconut, you should definitely try this. If you make this cake, do share me the picture on Instagram or Facebook. I'll see you next video. Until then, bye bye and take care.